On the 9th of Muharram, 61 AH, the events of Karbala approached their final stage. For days, the camp of Imam Husayn ibn Ali radiallahu anhu had remained surrounded, restricted, and increasingly isolated. Military pressure had intensified, resources had become limited, and by this stage, the possibility of peaceful resolution had nearly disappeared. As evening approached on the 9th of Muharram, preparations for confrontation were becoming visible. But within the camp of Imam Husayn radiallahu anhu, the atmosphere of that night was defined by something entirely different. Not military planning, not panic, but worship, reflection, and preparation of another kind. This night would later become remembered as the final night before Ashura. Historical accounts mention that as military activity increased, Imam Husayn radiallahu anhu requested that confrontation be delayed until the following day. According to narrations recorded in Tariq al-Tabari, this request was made to allow one more night. The purpose given in these narrations is significant. It was not for negotiation advantage. Rather, historical reports describe the desire to spend the night in prayer, recitation, and devotion. This detail became one of the defining characteristics of this night in Islamic memory. As darkness covered Karbala, the environment within the camp took on a distinct tone. While the surrounding landscape remained tense with military presence, the internal atmosphere of the camp was marked by worship. Reports from classical historians describe the night being filled with acts of devotion, recitation of Quran, prayer, supplication, reflection. This was not described as a night of disorder or confusion. It was a night of clarity. The uncertainty of earlier days had given way to certainty regarding what was likely to follow. This clarity shaped the emotional and spiritual tone of the camp. Among the most well-known narrations associated with this night is Imam Husayn radiallahu anhu's address to his companions. According to Sunni historical sources, he gathered those with him and spoke openly regarding the circumstances. Reports indicate that he informed them of the seriousness of the situation. Some narrations mention that permission was given for those present to depart if they wished. This moment is frequently cited in historical literature because of what followed. Their decision to stay became one of the most discussed elements of the night. This was not a decision made under uncertainty. The situation had already become increasingly clear. Most striking historical features of the ninth night is the contrast it presents. Outside the camp stood military forces preparing for conflict. Inside the camp stood individuals engaged in worship. The desert landscape remained physically unchanged, but its meaning had transformed entirely. Karbala was no longer merely a geographical location. It had become a stage for moral, political, and spiritual confrontation. The stillness of the desert amplified this contrast. The silence of night made every action more pronounced. By the 9th of Muharram, time itself seemed to narrow. The previous days had been marked by gradual escalation, but this night carried a different quality. It was no longer a question of whether events would escalate. It was a question of when. This created a historical sense of finality. The night served as a threshold, a final interval between days of preparation and the day that would later define Karbala in collective memory. The ninth night is remembered not because of a major battle. Its significance lies elsewhere. It represents the final complete night before Ashura. It captures the final state of the camp before the events of the 10th. According to historical records, it preserves a powerful image of composure, worship, and clarity under extreme circumstances. This is why the 9th occupies a unique place in the narrative of Karbala. The 9th of Muharram stands as one of the most distinctive nights in the history of Karbala. It was a night suspended between two realities. Behind it lay days of mounting pressure, restriction, and hardship. Ahead of it lay the events of Ashura and for preparation of a kind deeper than strategy. The desert was silent, the night was dark, and history waited for dawn.